Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Well, it has been a couple weeks, or has it been a few weeks? I can't even remember. So much stuff has happened since the last video. Holy mackerel. I mean, so much stuff has happened that this plane is actually getting close to being able to fly. I probably should have made a couple videos in between the last video and this one, but I've just been working on it and just didn't take the time to make a video, so I'm kind of a bad person. Huh. Anyways, I'll get over it. Yeah, I'm over it. So, obviously, the big thing from the last video is the wing is complete. It is covered, looks fantastic. All the wiggly bits now have wiggly bit movers, servos, that is. Covering turned out fantastic. I mean, look at that wingtip. Fantastic. Now, let's see who's been paying attention. Now, obviously, I got I got wiggly bits now. Brand new digital servos, noisy as heck. Let's see if I can make them be quiet. There we go. Alright. Who has been paying attention? What is different? What's different? Anybody? Anything different? Besides being finished, what's different? What is different? You know what? That looks like a flap. And yes, indeed, I decided to go ahead and put the flaps immediately after the last video. The way I set up, balance, everything for my airplanes is all done by eye. And by feel. And immediately after the last video, I was just from holding the airplane and looking at it, I opted to go ahead and install the flaps because I don't think they'll be necessary. Like, yeah, I have to have flaps or I won't be able to land, but I think they are going to play a big key role in making it a lot more enjoyable. So I did indeed install the flaps, and it wasn't too bad. Man, we have an interrupting cat as usual. I really didn't put too much thought into whether or not let's put it this way. I really didn't add any more work because it's a step that I passed and just went back to. So, no big deal. As you can see, they turned out very well. And because it was intended to have flaps in the first place, I just had to go back and just cut them out. See, I made my pockets for my servos, and everything turned out real good. See if we can... And everything just works out really well. And for the control horns here, these are actually for a 30cc RV8 or an RV6, maybe an RV4, I don't know, found them online. They're just fiberglass, they epoxy in there, right into the hard points that I already installed. For the ailerons and flaps, I'm using my TIG welding rod for the actual push rod. Now, I've been asked about these in the past. I only use them if I am using the plastic Dubro ball links like this here. If I was going to be putting on a metal clevis with a nut, I would not use these. I wouldn't use anything that I have to make my own thread. I would go a different route. But if you're using the plastic connectors like this, which work really well, this works good because when you cut threads into this welding rod, those threads are so sharp. I mean, you can cut your fingers on them things. So they bite into this plastic really well. And it's cheap, it's easy, it's quick, and it does the job well. So, yeah, perfect. But if you're using metal hardware, you need to go ahead and use stuff like this. And this is just the Sullivan 440 rod with the threaded adapter that gets soldered on. You can see I kind of trying to get a better shot of it here. Keep forgetting I'm using my actual camera so I can zoom in on it. And I made it mad, of course. There we go. So as you can see, the way I do it, the way I solder it and blend it into the rod, it almost looks like one piece. So take a little bit of time, make it look nice. It's worth it in the long run. So what else have we done? Let's see. Like I said, everything is intact. All the radio equipment is in. Nothing is really organized yet. So you can see the receiver's taped down there. Throttle servo is hooked up, ready to go. And I have installed the onboard glow. And I was really kind of racking my brain on how I wanted to do it, because you see the onboard glow has this this little box right here, or panel, whatever you want to call it. I did not want that on the outside of the airplane. I didn't want to have to, really see it. But at the same time, I wanted to be able to turn it on and off with the switch right there. So my options were to either mount it on the outside of the airplane or put a switch between the battery. So this is already basically this is a switch in itself, but then I'd have another switch going to the battery, and that's just more stuff. I like to keep things simple. You don't see me with these power expanders and boxes and gyros and all that hoo-ha. I keep it simple. The less stuff there is to go wrong, the less chance there is of something going wrong. Duh. But anyways, so you can see right off to the side right there is a tiny little hole. And this is totally ingenious, I'm telling you. So now we can see inside. You can see the Sullivan glow driver right there. Through this teeny tiny little hole, I put a little wire in there that's got a little 90-degree bend, and I can use that wire to push the switch on, or reach over it and pull the switch off. All from right there, and the panel's on the dash panel, so that looks good. So yeah, that worked out extremely well. It's all set up, it's all programmed with the throttle. I don't have a battery plugged into it right now, but I mean, the throttle is working, but since I don't have a battery plugged into the glow driver, it's not going to do anything. Everything is hooked up. I haven't connected the ground yet because when I was setting it up, I didn't want to actually light the plugs. So without this ground being plugged in, the plugs will not light. Throttle push rod, very simple. Just using a nye rod, using some just balsa little clamps or little hoops or whatever you want to call them, little guides. So you can use a nye rod without a nye rod housing, and it'll work just fine. So that works out good. I was able to find some good high temp silicone to make my exhaust extensions for the exhaust. Hopefully they'll hold up. We will find out. This is always a bear trying to figure out, exhaust and exhaust extensions and all that stuff. It's hard to find things that will last, so fingers crossed, hopefully that works out well. I'm going to be doing a lot more running of the engine anyway, and I'm going to do that with the engine on the airplane. I'm probably not going to do it on the test stand. I might not, don't know. We'll see. So that's that. Yeah, gear is not installed yet. In fact, I have not even cut open the bays and the covering for it. So that's going to be the next big step. Well, since we're looking at the bottom, see how well that the whole, what do you want to call it? The spackle belly pan, how that blended in. Looks really nice. Everything on this airplane has just flowed together really well. Everything has just turned out really good, and I couldn't be happier. So we're getting close to installing the side windows, which is good because I keep reaching inside there and the top of my watch keeps beating the daylights out of the cabin of this thing. Oh, the servos for the elevators and rudder might be kind of hard to see, but as you can see here, we're looking at the bottom of the servo. So might be trying to figure out how this is even working. I'm going to try to wedge the camera in there. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Bear with me. Hold on. Hold on. Alright. You can kind of see them. They're actually mounted upside down on rails. Let me get you out of there now. That's got to be a heck of a ride. So they're mounted upside down on the rails, but they're right side up in the fuselage because the push rods run very close to the actual floor of the passenger area or baggage area here. So that's kind of how I was planning on doing it from the beginning, and it did work really well. It's nice and clean. It was a little bit of a challenge to get the push rods set up because the control arm is only maybe a 1/4 inch from this, so it was kind of a chore to actually get the push rods put on there, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, everything just looks really nice. Those Pro Modeler servos are just nice and silky smooth. Of course, the flap servos are actually old Hi-Techs, just ones that I've had. Get a nice view from the tail here. That all looks good. And on the tail surface as well, I use those same control horns that just epoxy in, and they look really nice. It keeps everything real nice and clean. Don't have anything poking through the top. Just really a nice setup. I'm happy with it. Of course, this is the first airplane that I've built that I am trusting in my new FrSky transmitter. Or let's put it this way. This is the first plane that I've built completely from scratch, so this is 100% built by me. That I have not been flying it on an Airtronics or a Futaba 2.4 system. So this is a first. Everything should be good because the FrSky stuff is really, really quality stuff. And the testing that I've done on this radio so far has been really good. So you can see up there, we got our timer ready to go. RSSI is our signal strength, which is at 100% right now, or 100. It's not really a percentage. Receiver battery voltage is fluctuating. It's an old battery. It's not charged, and of course, the more I move it, the more it moves around. And there's Corvin and his wife with the Globe Swift. Good stuff. The graphics should be here this coming week. I was unable to actually get the graphic that's on the tail. Because there's just nowhere that has a clear enough shot to be able to really get exactly what it looks like. So I found something that's close. That's kind of cool, a little bit more modern looking, but it's close, and I think it'll look really nice on there. So, what do we think? Is this thing cool or what? So now I'm going to put the plane aside for a while, and I'm going to start working on the cowl. Oops. I need to put a plate running from the front of the cowl down to this former right here. Kind of acting as a slide for any fuel that drips out of the carburetor, because this still is a wood cowl. Even though I'm going to seal the inside with resin, it's still a wood cowl. So, got to make a little bit of a slide for the drippy fuel from the carburetor. Then, got to do some more sealing on the inside with resin. And, yeah, that's about it. This is pretty much ready for final prime and sand and paint. And now that we're into spring, we'll be able to do so. Landing gear, everything is good to go with the landing gear. I still have to make the covers and figure out how I want to make them, what I want to make them out of, how I want to attach them to the gear. I got to figure all that out. And I got to cut the bays open on the bottom, paint the inside just to kind of help it get fuel proof. So that's where we're at, folks. It is going well. And I have been super busy. I have been getting planes ready for the season. So far I've gotten the P40, Panther, Boomerang, Chipmunk. Everything has been kind of taken apart and put back together and ready for the season. P47's waiting for a fuel tank. P51's waiting for a fuel tank. And do not judge me. Don't judge me. Don't even start. Yes, I am one of the most anti-electric guys out there. But this is what happens when you cave under peer pressure. You end up with not only an electric airplane, but a frickin' big one. Ugh. So these have been getting popular at a lot of the events that I fly at. And early in the morning and later in the evening when everybody's kind of done flying for the day, everybody busts out these T-28s. Yeah, they're just all foam. You know, I got a good deal from my buddy RJ on this one. You know, it's kind of rough, kind of beat up, but, you know, like I said, I got a good deal on it. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on something electric. That's just not going to happen. But, yeah, so I've been kind of tinkering with that. I got to figure out what radio I want to put it in and get it all programmed. Yeah. So, that's about where we're at. Oh, yeah, I've had the pits down, got that ready to go for the season if I decide to fly it this year. I don't know if I will or not. No idea. Alright, well, I honestly don't know if I'm going to do that much more work on it today or not. I'm going to unplug that battery that's doesn't need to be on. Uh-oh, watch this.
Telemetry lost.
See, when you're flying, that's not what you want to hear. Alright, move this aside. So, yeah. Looks good, doesn't it? Like I said, that color scheme is just so simple, but yet looks really well. It really catches your eye. And having the color transfer on the trailing and leading edge, I mean, just look how nice and straight that is. Now that's a wingtip you can be proud of. Still got some smudges I got to clean off there. Anytime you have a dark color over a light color, you're going to get the smudges like that. Look at that nice straight line going right down. And I like this too. This little pinstripe right here that blends into the white of the leading edge. I really like that. And that just kind of comes together. It just kind of works. Looks cool. Alright. Like I said, I may not do anything else on this plane for the rest of the weekend. It's Sunday. Kind of need a break. Alright, folks. Well, I'm going to go upload this video, probably watch some TV, and just be lazy for the rest of the day. I think that sounds good. Alright. Later.